Kristen has been named one of the most beautiful people in the world in the current issue of People magazine, with Beyonce's on the cover here.
They must be blind.
No, look, that's a girl. Look at that picture. It's great. And then this is Beyonce's on the cover, who's obviously extraordinarily beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Now, we talk today. We're kind of focusing on this beauty bias. Are you aware that people treat you differently because of your physical appearance?
Yes.
They've done studies on. They've shown people pictures of women with varying amounts of makeup.
Sure.
And the women who wore the more makeup were scored as not just more attractive, but more intelligent, as more serious. And so there's this whole beauty bias in this country, and we want to focus on it today for a little bit. The other day, we did a hidden camera investigation on rudeness. You might have seen that. Today, it's all about beauty bias. Our teams hit the streets armed with undercover cameras to find out how differently people are treated because of the way they look. This is a huge issue. It affects everyone, but particularly women. So we wanted to see how big a role appearance plays in normal day-to-day predicaments, like if you have a flat tire on the side of the road. Who would come and help you? Take a look at what happened in our hidden camera experiment. In total, 3 times the amount of men stopped to help Nicole than stopped to help Joanna. And Nicole's average wait time next to that flat tire was 1/3 of Joanna's. Beauty bias or just good luck? Amazing stuff. Joanna and Nicole are joining us now. Thanks for being here. Kristen's in the audience. Biological anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher is also joining us. An aesthetic surgeon, Dr. Haideh Hirmand, are also here. Nicole, what did you think of the results?
I was pleased that everyone wanted to help me.
Of course you were. You were like, it's an average day.
No, I was surprised that they went to the lengths that they actually did.
And Joanna, were you surprised at how many people just passed you by?
A little bit. I mean, the people who stopped were very helpful and super nice, but I was a little surprised, especially when I was sitting on the curb in front of the tire.
Right, you're sitting there looking miserable.
Right, yeah, and they just straight on by.
Kristen, you have some of the folks, Victor, I think, who actually is the one who offered to her money.
Yeah.
Would you have given money to Joanna?
If she would need it, yes, I would have.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
His money taught him.
Yes.
Dr. Fisher, are you surprised by what's going on here?
I put people in brain scanners and study the brain circuitry of the reward system, the brain system for pleasure. And when you look at a pretty face or a handsome face, those parts of the brain become active and dopamine begins to spread all over the brain.
Wait, when you see a pretty face,
feel better. Yes,
you actually see something in the brain of people watching a pretty face.
Absolutely.
But doctor, in terms of aesthetics, symmetry is important.
Oh, absolutely. And it starts very early in life. I mean, there's studies that have shown that babies have visual preferences for beautiful pictures, beautiful objects and people.
Even babies?
Yeah. Even babies.
Weight is another huge area of bias, especially for women. There's a new study in the International Journey of Obesity that says there's been a 66% increase in weight bias just over the past decade. We set up another undercover investigation to find out how weight bias shows up in our everyday lives. Now, Jessica, you say it felt like being invisible almost.
Yes. When you walk down the street, I think it's normal to make eye contact with people, but after my transformation, people wouldn't even look at me. It was like they couldn't.
Dr. Hirmand, Dr. Fisher, does it surprise you? I mean, it doesn't make sense that there's this weight bias given the number of people who are struggling with weight in this country.
Right. No, it doesn't surprise me at all. It's a big challenge and it's a big obsession worldwide and especially in our society now. And it's actually increasing. And the imperative is cultural, but also biologic.
The brain is built to try to pick the healthiest partner to raise your babies and send your DNA on to tomorrow. And so we have this natural response for certain proportions of the body. So it's those bodily proportions that are particularly important.
Helen, you've got some great tips for people to help beat the beauty bias no matter how they appear. What are they?
Certainly smile, because when you smile, people automatically smile back and they move their face in various positions so that they feel better when they look at you smiling. So,
I hate my smile. I think I look bizarre when I smile.
Well,
it creeps me out.
No, you can't smile.
Another thing is walk in the natural human stride. We were built to walk in a very comfortable way that expends very little energy. Somebody who's watching you, they think you're smart, happy, funny, intelligent,
I'm in
rich,
trouble.
well-educated.
I walk like a duck down the street, and I'm not looking at anyone, and I'm like, my feet are pointed outward, so that's...
And also being self-confident, being happy. People want to be around happy people.
That's great advice. That's really good advice. Our friends at Yahoo Shine have some great tips on improving your body image, self-esteem. Check out shine.yahoo.com. I want to thank everyone who participated in our experiments. You can do your own social experiment at home to determine if you have a subconscious bias and not realize it. Go to our website, andersoncooper.com. We're going to have a link to the implicit association test. We did actually a show about this test. It was developed by a team of top researchers across the country. You can see if you have an unconscious bias against people of a certain weight or a certain age. Oh, there's also a race segment as well. We tried it on the show. It's incredibly interesting. Coming up, Kristen gives one of her youngest fans the surprise of her life. This is going to be fun. Stick around.